Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're diving into something both fascinating and a little unnerving. How artificial intelligence is impacting the environment and how it's being used to, well, monitor the most vulnerable parts of our planet, like glaciers. Kind of strange, huh? AI having such amazing potential, but also coming with environmental costs. Yeah, we're talking about AI pollution. And no, not robots dumping barrels into rivers or anything, but think about it, right? As AI gets more powerful, self-driving cars, personalized medicine, even those algorithms deciding what you see on social media, it needs energy and resources, and that's creating serious environmental problems. You want to hear something crazy? By 2030, they say e-waste from old AI hardware could be a massive 75 million metric tons. That's like chucking almost 200 Empire State Buildings worth of electronics. And the heart of it all, data centers. Those things are power hungry, using up 3 to 4% of all global greenhouse gases.
And don't forget the water. All those data centers need tons of it to stay cool. Especially tricky in places already hurting for water. Trying to quench the thirst of the digital world could make water scarcity in the real world even worse.
A bit of a head scratcher, isn't it? AI contributes to these problems, but it's also being used to fight them. We're seeing AI monitoring air quality, making renewable energy grids more efficient, even tracking deforestation in real time, like it's trying to clean up its own mess.
Exactly. It's why sustainable AI practices are so important. Think of it like a circular economy for AI hardware. Minimize waste, maximize reuse. Instead of tossing old parts, design them to be taken apart and repurposed. Imagine this. The chips in your smart speaker, designed from the get-go to be easily removed and reused in medical equipment. Less waste, less need to mine new resources.
So it's about more than just creating cool AI, right? It has to be about making sure it's sustainable and doesn't cost the earth. And, when we talk about sustainable AI, there's a really urgent example that comes to mind. Melting glaciers.
Yeah, it's like the poster child for how we can use AI to really understand and maybe even soften the blow of climate change.
Exactly. And the one that always gets me is, the Thwaites Glacier in Antarctica, the Doomsday Glacier.
Yeah.
I know. Antarctica seems a world away. But here's the thing. If that glacier goes, it could really mess things up. Sea levels could rise by over 2 feet globally.
It's not just about the water level, though, right? Think of Thwaites like a big old doorstop. It's holding back other glaciers in West Antarctica. If that thing collapses, it could set off this chain reaction, more melting, even faster, and even higher sea levels.
Not a happy thought. And that's why scientists are working so hard to figure out what's going on with it. And that's where our AI friend comes in. They're using AI with all that satellite data to really keep an eye on Thwaites. Imagine AI going through mountains of satellite pictures, seeing even tiny changes on the surface, measuring how fast it's moving, even mapping out those crevasses, those deep cracks in the ice.
And those cracks. Super important. They tell us how stable the glacier is, how likely it is to, break apart, like stress fractures, but in a giant hunk of ice.
So it's kind of like AI is giving us this really advanced warning system, right? We can see how the glacier's acting and get a better idea of what might happen. But it's not just about the sea levels, is it? Melting glaciers really affect the whole ecosystem. It's easy to forget, but there's a lot of life that depends on those icy landscapes. Polar bears, for example. They need the sea ice to hunt seals, and the seals need stable ice to raise their pups. A melting glacier is a huge threat to them.
It really drives home the point. Climate change has these ripple effects. What happens in one part of the world can really shake things up somewhere else. That glacier in Antarctica, it's connected to polar bears way up in the Arctic, even coastal communities thousands of miles away.
It really makes you think about how connected everything on Earth really is.
It does.
And it kind of forces us to ask, what do we do with all this? We know about the problems and the potential of AI, but then what?
Well, I think it's got to be a two-pronged approach.
Okay, I like that. 2 prongs.
First, we need to keep pushing those boundaries in AI research, but always with sustainability in mind. Developing AI that's not just powerful, but also, energy efficient, uses less resources.
So making it more eco-friendly, can we decouple all that AI brain power from its impact on the planet?
Exactly. Imagine AI systems that are as elegant and efficient as the natural world they're studying. Minimal footprint, maximum good vibes.
I like the sound of that.
But, and this is a big but, tech innovation alone isn't enough.
Right, because it's a global issue, right?
Exactly. We need everyone on board, not just a few companies or countries. We need some ground rules, global guidelines and regulations so AI is developed responsibly everywhere.
Because climate change, AI pollution, these things don't care about borders. It's a team effort to fix it, right? But it's not just on governments and big companies, is it? I feel like we can all do something.
Absolutely. AI is already all around us. I mean, look at our phones, or even those algorithms suggesting what to buy online. Just being aware of the environmental costs of that, that's a good first step. Do we really need the newest gadget if it adds to all that e-waste?
Yeah, it makes you stop and think before you upgrade your phone, doesn't it?
It really does.
Yeah.
And, beyond how much we buy, we can support the companies doing AI right, the ones making sustainability a priority. And we can support policies that make sure AI innovation doesn't come at the planet's expense.
So what we've learned today is AI is super powerful. It can make climate change worse, but it can also help fight it. It's kind of like walking a tightrope, isn't it? Finding that balance.
Yeah, it is. But it's a tightrope we got to walk, right? I mean, the future kind of depends on it.
That's the truth. So as we move into this world that's only going to get more AI-driven, the real question for all of us is, how do we use that power to heal the planet, not harm it? It's something to think about. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive, and until next time, keep those brainwaves buzzing.